Hi, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and good day everybody. Welcome to my video. My name is Hatini Jaafar from the Faculty of Management and Economics, University Pendidikan Sultan Idris. This video is on PSA 3013, Public Sector Accounting. In this video, we will discuss about the budgeting systems in Malaysia.
This video aims to provide a discussion regarding the second learning outcome of this chapter, in which it is expected that at the end of this, you should be able to deliberate the processes behind program and performance budgeting, including its implications and shortfalls. And the public sector expanded and became more and more complex. The TBS was viewed as being no longer sufficient. In addition to that, the need for the government to become more accountable increases as the rakyat becomes more knowledgeable, so they are demanding more from the government. The dissatisfaction with TBS then led to the implementation of what we call as the Program and Performance Budgeting System, PPBS. In Malaysia, PPBS was introduced in 1969 under Treasury Circular 5/1968. This system helps management make better decisions on the allocation of resources among alternative ways to achieve government objectives through the selection of the best feasible alternatives or a combination of alternatives. The PPBS is needed because of, as mentioned earlier, increasing complexity of modern life, increase in demands for government services, shortage of funds to meet the demand, and the need to determine priorities, the need to design programs, and to control budget. Under PPBS, there are actually two components, the program and the performance. The term program and performance were used for operating expenditure only, and it includes various components. The components of program are functions, objectives, activities, and responsibility centers. Meanwhile, the components of performance are appropriateness, adequacy, effectiveness, and efficiency of the program. So based on this explanation, we can say that PPBS is actually a management system that focuses on the relationship between input, output, and outcome or impact. It is a detailed planning of various development programs of the government. The main idea behind PPBS is to link between resource allocation with programs that are able to facilitate the public sector in achieving its objectives. This is because the resources available to the public sector are always limited. Treasury Circular Number 5/1968 outlines the two main important components of PPBS, which are program budgeting and performance budgeting. Program budgeting is where the government agency plans the objectives and the programs necessary to achieve the objectives. Detailed information is expected for each program that they want to offer, including its functions, what are the objectives, what are the activities that are going to be carried out, and what are the responsibility centers that are going to handle these programs or these activities. The emphasis is on the extent of objective achievement, with less emphasis on the various classes of expenditure. Meanwhile, performance budgeting refers to the methods of measuring performance and cost. The budget must be able to deliver goods and services in the right quantity, quality, and also in a timely manner. Performance should be measured based on the program appropriateness, adequacy, effectiveness, as well as efficiency. The PPBS comprises of four main stages: identifying overall objectives, planning and structuring of programs, analyzing and selecting programs, and evaluating performance. Identifying objectives means setting out in clear terms the purpose for which an organization exists. This is the foundation towards a better and meaningful planning, and it encourages consideration of other alternatives in achieving the objectives. This particular element also enables management to avoid any duplication of functions of the various departments within an organization. Since performance of the organization is measured based on planned objectives, an efficient management shall identify and formulate objectives in a clear, precise, and concise manner. For example, the objectives of the Ministry of Education are to produce Malaysians through a national education system, to make them knowledgeable, to make them responsible and capable of enjoying comfortable standard of living. And in order to achieve these objectives, the Ministry of Education should come out with a proper planning and structuring of their programs. Program is a set of activities that have common objectives. It is a combination of resources which are formulated to achieve definite objectives and capable of being related to identifiable outputs. Program planning involves the selection of the best feasible alternative for the purpose of achieving identified objectives and reflecting it in terms of programs. Program structuring refers to the hierarchical listing of programs, activities, and sub-activities which contribute to the achievement of the objectives. Limited resources available to public sector agencies requires these agencies to select among the program that would best fulfill its objectives, and this leads to what we call as the program analysis. Program analysis involves the analysis of the costs and benefits of each program so that the most optimal choices can be made. Program analysis requires a thorough analysis of each program and activity to make sure the beneficial benefit on public sector overall objectives. Such analysis require both input and output to be stated in monetary form so that proper analysis could be carried out. This is actually the most challenging part because some outputs are intangible in nature and therefore are difficult to measure, such as the peace of mind, or as in the previous example we see that the objective is to improve local communities' well-being. So these are difficult to be converted into monetary form. The main purpose of performance evaluation is to assess the relevance, results, and impacts of the program for each agency using a pre-developed performance indicators. As you can see here, the objective is to improve local communities' well-being. And this objective can be achieved through 3 different programs: the eradication of dengue cases, the expansion of recreational parks, and landscaping and beautification of a particular area. And uh, if you look at the first one, the first program, eradication of dengue cases, for example, there are 3 different activities that can be carried out in order to achieve this program. In this particular example, some of the performance indicators that can be used for each program is, for example, for eradication of dengue cases, we might want to look at the number of dengue cases in that particular area. For expansion of recreational park, maybe the percentage of visitors to the recreational park, and so on and so forth. So this involves the process of making comparison between the actual output for a given period and the planned or targeted output for the same period, and identifying the cause for any variance, the difference between the two. The results will provide information to the government agencies involved as to whether the programs have been realistically planned and properly managed. Since major emphasis is made on programs, activities, and costs, it will require government administrators and managers to think and plan in terms of program objectives and the most efficient and economical way to achieve them. This will provide better information on effectiveness of the management of each ministry and department, and will facilitate and improve the coordination between economic planning as well as the financial planning. Apart from that, program planning and structuring will also facilitate the setting of budget priorities between competing programs. In terms of record keeping, proper classification and coding schemes for expenditure was actually developed during the implementation of the program and performance budgeting. This has led to the modernization of the government systems. The accounting system was modernized to account for vote books and coding systems for standard objects for revenues and expenditure. This in turn led to the harmonization or standardization among government agencies. Even though PPBS was initially introduced to overcome the weaknesses in TBS, it unfortunately also has its own drawbacks. For example, although the budgeting system adopted a more longer-term perspective as compared to TBS, in which the information for future planning is linked to the budget, the budgeting process, the budget preparation, examination, and implementation. However, PPBS was still focused only on line item or object of expenditure under traditional budgeting. This limit the usefulness of PPBS since budget data was limited to the annual perspective inherent in traditional budgeting. Apart from that, goals and objectives of individual agencies are not clear. In the private sector, goals and objectives are very clear, that is to maximize profit. However, in the public sector organization, there are various objectives that have to be considered, such as political, social, economic objectives, and as a result, it is difficult for these agencies to develop their performance indicators under PPBS. These result in inefficient performance evaluation because there are so many performance indicators that can be considered. Apart from that, the objectives within public sector agencies are varied and at times also conflicting. This led to the difficulty to determine what are the actual objectives, especially when different individuals within the agency have different ideas about the purpose of this agency. So these are some of the limitations under PPBS.